Hey guys, welcome back to Large Scale RC Nation. This is Brandon, and today we're going to be doing an install on this JX servo, and I'll be also showing you how to take off the cab. So let's go ahead and jump into this video. First off, we're going to not need any of these items, so you can go ahead and place that back in the baggie. The only thing that we are going to need is our servo, the screw for the servo horn, and your Phillips screwdriver. First, we're going to start by removing the screw on the back side of the cab. There's one on each side. Next will be the two screws underneath next to the switch. The bumper will now slide off. Let's pop open that hood. And we have two screws, one here, one here. All right, now make sure that you're keeping your hardware separated and don't lose it. It's time to now take off that cab. We're going to slide it forward and remove it as so. Now that we have the cab and the battery tray removed, now it's time to remove the circuit board. It's going to be one screw located right here. Now that the bumper's removed, we have a clear shot to our servo horn. We're going to remove this screw right here, and we're going to be reusing all this. So just place that off to the side. And now it's time to go underneath the hood. So what you would like to do is take a visual note or a photo of how your wires are ran so you can place them back in the same spots, and make sure that you don't pinch your wires on these posts where your screws go into so you don't mess up the wiring. We're going to fold this back. Now that that's out of the way, we're going to remove the two screws that is holding the servo plate on. Just keep the screws in there. And now it's time to pull out our servo. So just so you can see how it's held in, it's basically just pressed in right between this plastic and in front of this plastic, which is held on by the ears of the servo. Just gonna pop that out. Now before removing the wire of your servo, you wanna take notice of how it is positioned. It needs to go in the same exact way. So the brown wire is right here next to the resistor. Just gonna carefully remove that. Don't pull by the wires, pull by the plastic. Okay, here you can see the three prongs, and our servo is out. It is now time to remove the screw on the servo horn. We're going to take the servo horn off and just put the screw back in just so you don't lose it and you have a backup servo. Okay, so we replaced the screw back into the servo so we didn't lose it. Now let's place this off to the side with the twist wire removed. We are now going to place it back onto our circuit board with the brown wire facing towards the resistor. And just make sure that you push it straight down, that you don't bend those prongs. We will now plug in our battery. And what we're going to do is turn on the truck. We're going to turn on the remote, and we're going to center the remote and then make sure that this is dead center. Remote is on. Let's turn on that truck. Lights are flashing. And now it's bound. Here you can see that it is moving. So as you can see, there is a little dot right there, and that's going to go straight down. That is your dead center. So with the truck on and the remote on, you have it dead center now. Now you're just gonna move the servo back and forth. Make sure it's working properly. The servo is gonna be installed in this manner. Your servo horn is gonna be on the far side, so it will not go in this way. It can only go in this way as the hole is over here. So now that we have it like this, you're gonna place your old servo horn that was on the truck originally and put that straight down. And as you can see, it fits on there perfectly. You're gonna take your new screw that came with the servo, place that into the servo horn, and tighten that down. Before you tighten it down and crank it hard, go ahead and turn off the truck and your remote. So that way you don't damage your servo or any electronics. And you can go ahead and finish cranking this down. You can use a little bit of blue Loctite so the screw doesn't back out eventually. All right, you don't have to go super tight, but just make it nice and tight. Now that that's installed, we can go ahead and place this back in the truck. As you can tell, the wiring is a lot longer than the original one, so you're gonna have to get a little creative on tucking that wire in, but just make it nice and clean. So as I said previously, the ear is gonna go right inside this little slot, and it's gonna rest right in front right here. So we're gonna place that down, and just put your hand underneath so you don't smash on the suspension. And you're just gonna press it in there, and it's gonna fit nice and tightly, and it is now installed. So you can go ahead and replace your servo brace or bracket. The screw is gonna go right behind this little ear right there. You see that small one back there? You're gonna place that right behind. Now we're gonna replace our screws. Remember, this is going into plastic, so do not over tighten it. Let's get it nice and snug. It's not gonna go anywhere. Now that those screws are snug, let's go ahead and clean up our wiring, and we're gonna reinstall our circuit board back on the truck. You also wanna make sure that none of your wiring is pinched underneath the servo, so just make sure everything is clean and clear. It should be nice and free as so. And we're just gonna fold this up right behind the servo. And when you're happy with the way that the wires ran, everything's tucked in, verified, nothing's pinched on the post. When you're happy with the way that all the wiring is done, go ahead and set that back down the post, and we're gonna reinstall that screw. We will now replace the screw, which is gonna be one of these black ones. All right, remember, going into plastic, so don't over tighten it. You're making sure that the board is nice and straight with the body. You don't want it to be overhanging, no wires are in the way. Everything's nice and clean. Verifying no wires is sitting over our post. We're gonna place back our battery tray back on. Just find the holes. And install our screws. This is going into plastic once again, so we're just going for a nice snug. Once you feel it stop, then stop there. Don't over crank it, as you'll strip it out. All right, those are nice and tight. Now it's time to put this back on. We're gonna slide this back underneath. And that little slot will line up with your screw hole. Now we will snap it back down into place. Okay, all the tabs are over on the body. You can go ahead and shut that. Let's install the screw back onto the cab. I'm just verifying that it is not cross-threading. You want to make sure that it's going in nice and easily. If it's not, then you're going to cross-thread it. Okay, let's do the other side. Now the other way to replace the screws is to just leave them hanging out, and you're just going to slide it underneath. If that's a little easier for you, you can do it either way. You see, we slid it in underneath, and now we'll just press down and clip it into the battery tray. We will now take our silver little screw, and we're going to place that onto our steering linkage. And we're going to place it into the bottom hole of the horn, just as it was prior. Okay, it's installed now. Don't over crank it as it does have a rubber washer. Now we're gonna place our bumper back on. And let's tighten down our screws real quick. We're just gonna tighten down the screws all the way. We replaced our battery, our remote is on. Turn on our truck. And we are back in business. Slow articulation. It's very smooth. So it is under load and it is working perfectly. No struggle, works great. Thank you guys for making it to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed us tearing down the cab, installing that servo, and reinstalling the cab back together again. If you guys enjoyed the content, please smash that thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you in the next video. If you would like to further support the channel and show a little extra thanks, you can go ahead and click that super thanks and donate to the channel. All proceeds will go to new products and new vehicles. Thank you so much and have a great day.